Hey guys, Marc Paints Oils here. Okay, so today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a winter scene. I've painted a lot of tropical scenes lately, a lot of palm trees and Florida scenes. Decided today I'm going to paint a winter scene. And it's going to be a painting that I painted as a kid, way back. This is probably like the third or fourth painting I ever painted, and I thought I want to redo it because I like that painting. I've never painted it again since then, so I want to try to redo or kind of recreate that painting I painted way back when. I'm going to take a little bit of the sky. If I remember, I had trees. The sky was purple. I had a little small house right here, and I had like a road going this way. Snow, winter scene, some fence posts, something like that. What I'm going to do is I'll try to show you my palette a little bit more than I usually do. So, that's my palette. I'm using a paper palette. I'm going to take some crimson color, right here so you can see it. Crimson color. You could use a knife to mix them together. I'm just using a brush in this case. I'm using phthalo blue today. Sort of a brighter colored purple. I'm going to take it a little bit more towards the blue side. Just add a little bit more blue in there. Yeah, so it gives us a purple color. Now, the sky I did in that painting, I just kind of swirled the brush around. Made little motions. Little motions and kept the brush moving. So I use the corner of the brush to blend it, using the thin white that's already on the canvas to help blend it. We'll smash in there, just kind of move it around. Break it down the horizon. Kind of a crazy, it's a little bit crazy right now, but hopefully it'll come together when I blend it all together. So bring it down to about where the horizon's going to be. I'll say a little bit lower than the middle. And it's going to help me clean the brush off. These little round strokes. All right. I'm going to take a large brush, the same color. Sort of infuse it into the bottom here. So I have some areas where I'm going to have shadows in the snow. I don't have to be too careful with that. It's not water, it's going to be shadows in the snow. See how loose I am? That's all it has to be there. This painting, I could probably paint it fast. I already painted in about half an hour if I really tried. Fixed Ego, good morning. Roman, good morning. How long have you been painting for, man? Let me think now. A long time, in the 80s. In the 80s. Way back. And this is one of the first paintings I ever painted. This is like the fourth painting I ever painted. So I figured I'd try to recreate it. So I can see the messages here. Fiery man, good morning. Nice. Thank you. All right, so now I'm going to take a little blender brush. It's like hyper soft on the top. Make sure it's completely dry. You can test it on your chin. Make sure it's dry. Then I'm going to go in the light areas. I'm just going to go I'm gonna make round little motions like that. And blend from the light areas to the dark. And sort of decide how much you want it blended. Then we'll keep the towel off to the side and try to keep the brush as clean as possible. Can we get my age? Old. Middle age, I'll give you that. Even though I act younger than I am. Alright, so get that blended in there. See how it's starting to look like clouds, sort of? That's basically how I painted this picture way back. Blend it in. The nice thing about this brush is you can sort of determine how much pressure you want to put on there, so you can blend it really loose. So it's not blended too much, or you can put more pressure and blend it more. So a little bit more blue in that area, so that kind of gives up a little bit more interest. That. Just using that circular motion. That. Just looking at it, I think it needs to be blended a little bit more than it is. So I would blend the horizon a little bit more because that's more the distance. So I'm going to blend that area a little bit more, using more pressure. On the horizon, let it then gradually blend it less. I don't like some of these formations here, so I'm going to blend that a little bit more. If you get an area that's over blended, you can just go back and repaint it again. That's all I'm going to do to the sky, because the original painting I painted of this, I didn't put white clouds in it, I just left it like this. So I'm going to leave it like this in this picture. So that's all I'm going to do with this sky. That's that part. Now I'm going to take this big 1.5 inch brush. Yeah, I have background noise. There's an air conditioner on behind me. It belongs to one of the other units. I can't shut it off. Alright, so now we have, I'm going to go into that same purple color. I'm going to take a little bit of brown. I'm going to make like a row of trees in the background. Take some brown, a little black, burnt sienna, and a touch of green, not too much. I'm going to put a lot of paint on the brush. Like a dark bluish color with a touch of green in it. Yeah, wiggle it in there, trying to get enough paint in there. Make like a tip. Do that. Alright, so I'm just going to figure out where the tops of these trees are. Dab. Just go down. That'll be one. See, now I just put a little bit of green there, but it's still a little bit overly green, so you don't want to go crazy with the green. It's going to mix with the white when you highlight it. So right now I'm just putting the top so I can just lay out what it's going to be. Just sort of stagger them a little bit. I don't want them the same height. Determine how tall I want. Like that. And taller here. A couple close together. Keep the brush full of paint. Here, just like a row across. So that'd be the original picture. Okay, so now I'm going to load it differently, not at a point, sort of like that. Just go into each one, sort of pushing the tree. There. This is how I did it that time. Brush pretty full. I use a lot of paint. And connect as it gets to the bottom. Thank you. Appreciate that. There. I'm trying not to use too much green in the mix. Just a little bit. It's off. It's off. Good. I'm out here on a porch and I can't control the air conditioner. So I'm gonna put the air conditioner on. There we go. Right here. This one. You can push down or up if you want to. Some a little bit wider at the base if you want to. Like that. This over here. In. I have a couple smaller ones I need to fill in there more. There. And a couple at the top a little bit more tapered, like that. This looks like a Christmas tree, doesn't it? I want to taper a little bit more at the top. So make it a little bit like that more. Maybe the back more. Trying to make that smooth transition to the top. There we go, that's a little bit better. Alright, so now we have thick paint on. Even that off a little bit. So that's thick paint that's on there now. Now, I'll let that set up a little bit because I want it to be, it needs to be thick so I can put white paint over it. So I'm not going to immediately paint into it. So now I'm going to, there's going to be a little house over here if I remember. This is going back a long time since I painted the original one. So let me grab some, let me put this brush aside. I'm being a little neater than I was yesterday. It was kind of dirty yesterday. Let me wash my fan brush. Oh, I forgot. Let me put some tree trunks in. What about that part? I'm going to take Van Dyke Brown and Burnt Sienna, mix those two together, and white. Make sort of like that type of color. Marbled. Use a paint palette knife, cut across. Then in the individual ones here, little tree trunk here and there. Just touching it in there. It's going to be in the background, so I don't have to get too detailed. Excuse my arm. Detail this. It doesn't have to be everywhere. Oops, I gotta screw that up, didn't I? So on top, I'm going to straight up and make the tops a little bit pointier. Just a little bit. Alright, so now I'm going to grab my fan brushy. I'm going to go into white. I'm going to go into a thin white and mix it with my regular white, thick white. Put a touch of crimson in it. Just sort of figure out where I want my snow to be, my land to be. And go across. Across there. Clean up the bottom of that. Maybe I'll go back a little bit further so it's not as wide back there. Some more white, a little bit more pink on the brush just to warm up the snow a little bit. And sort of shape the ground here. The land sort of flows down a little bit. There we go. Gives us some snowiness. Okay. Now, next thing I want to do is I want to highlight the trees. Let me think how I want to do this now. Do I want to use this brush? I'm going to use the same brush. I have to really get that cleaned up. The same brush I used originally. How dirty this brush is, you're going to have to get it completely clean. 100% clean. Get all that stuff off there. Give me a second to clean it. Probably should have two of these, one for highlights and one for shadows. So maybe the next time I go to the store, I'll get another one. This brush clean as can be. Almost there. All right, I got this brush clean enough. So I'm gonna go into white, a little thin white, and a little regular white. Load the brush full as possible. As full as can be. Tap it in and figure out where I want my highlights. And just go over that and just put some snow on there. Just Just do one tree at a time. Let it taper down. And we're gonna have to use a tube of paint for every tree here. I have to put a lot of paint in the brush and keep it thin. That's the key to this. Keep it super, not super thin, but somewhat thin. A lot of paint on. Can add a little bit of blue to it, maybe. It'll look good. And try this one. Highlight that one. And this one here, just let it taper down darker as it goes down. Like I said, I'm using a ton of paint on the brush. And a very light touch. Add a little bit more blue to it. Going right over those tree trunks. I don't want to kill all the dirt. A little more blue, a little more liquidy white. Keep the brush full of paint. It is coming off the brush pretty good, better than it usually does. Rochelle, hello. Thanks for coming on. And I have one here with a little bit more blue in it. More blue in this one. Taper itself down. Maybe get a little bigger as it goes down also. This one. That one's sort of behind the other one there. See, I'm kind of favoring the right side of the tree because that's where the light is coming from. In my mind here. Reloading, keep the brush clean as possible. use a paper towel, wipe it off every once in a while, just to make sure it stays as clean and true as possible. And then over here, right there. Over here. The brush is getting a little bit dirty, so I have to wash it off. Clean it off a little bit. Let me grab a little bit more white. I want a little bit more blue in some of them. I'm just going to take straight white. More of a bluey color. Mix that in. Maybe on the shadow sides, a little bit more blue. So that's kind of like the shadow side there. So I kind of infuse some blue there. So I have a light side and a dark side. So look a little bit more interesting. Touch more blue, just to a little bit more pronounced, the blueness. Try not to cover all my dark either. My deep darks. Just adding that blue kind of makes it look better, you know. Just a little blue there. There. Touch there. All right, so we got some decent trees going on. Now, a lot more highlight in that one. Let me step back for a second and take a bit of a look at it. I want an area that's more highlighted, deep, whiter, like stronger white highlights. The areas are like really bright white. It's gonna grab your attention more. So I'm going to take straight white, straight thin white. A couple of them I'm going to really make bright. all that color off there. It's not a little blue on there. I never put my brush in the thin white mixture. So I don't want to. Let me get more blue off this brush. I don't want to get the. I don't want to taint the color that's in there. The thing about blue, it's a hard color to get off a brush. All right, I'm going to straight white. Straight white. And ones that I want a little bit brighter, I'm just going to go straight over. A lot of paint on the brush with a little light touch, just kind of dazzle them a little bit more. Just kind of make the snow sort of pop out a little bit more. Makes it look a little bit more three-dimensional also. Not putting much, just a little bit. Yeah, it's more three-dimensional now. Having that light color in there. I overwork and then make mud, so I have to kind of stop myself here. Stop there with that. So those will be my trees in the background. Yeah, I'm gonna go back into my fan brush. Right on there. Sort of clean up where I went over it here. Drag some of those shadows out. Let those be shadows. What time do we have here? Okay. So I think in the original picture I had a shack or a house like back in there. Let's take a sip of coffee for a second here. All right, let me think how I did this now. I think I had it like here. Like that. Just taking the knife and just scraping the paint out there that's on there. I'll laze it out right there for us. We have this side here to do that way. Go straight down. my angles are correct. See how I was a little bit going to the left there. If you can get this part right, then it's a little bit easier to put the next layer of paint in. I'm not too worried about the bottom so much. I'm more worried about the top, those angles on the top. Yeah, I don't want it to go that way too much. Bottom doesn't matter because it'll just turn into snow eventually. Now, let me grab some brown. Find it here. Grab some Van Dyke brown. I'm not going to put paint on the roof yet because I want that to be white with snow. So I'm not gonna paint that brown. So I'm gonna go the back eave right here. That way. I'm gonna go down here. Let me get this out of the way here. Let's have a better angle at it. Just this way. Sorry about the air conditioner coming on. This one there. This line here. This back line here. Straight across. Right down. Now I'm going to take white, because I want to paint the roof. White. I'm going to spot this little paint here. Put this palette out of the way. Like that won't work. I'm going to be a little neater than I was yesterday. I was kind of messy yesterday. Now let me get the roof done. Across. on there. Waterware, some snow hanging down there. There's icicles. You don't want to get any brown in the so I go this way. Right, so now we have the back heave. There's snow in the back heave. Just tapping on here. That. And it's going to be darker on the left side because that's further away from the light. The light's coming from this side. We're going to darken this side. Dark right there. One more distinct edge here. Take a more light color. Over here, it's going to lighten this side up a little bit. Dark under here where the shadow is. Pull it down so it has a nice transition. And over here. That dark up there a little bit. Now on the back is going to be a shimmy. And right here is a chimney sticking out. I'm going to grab a little black paint. Need a bit of black paint. Put in a couple windows and whatnot. door there. There's a window here. There's a window right there. Let me just look at it from behind for a second. I think it's pretty good. You don't have to get too crazy with it. I think maybe you gotta take a small brush. Just pull down a couple icicles hanging down there. A couple icicle there. Brush clean. Kind of an impressionistic type of thing, you know. It's not realism in this type of style. There, that's good. Now I'm going to go into this brush here and clean up the bottom. Clean up the bottom. Let me try to get the perspective right here first. Get this one of the paint up. Like that. Go back that way and then that way. Just a little bit. A little bit of the liquidy white. There's some dark in there. And just go like a distinctly in front of it like that. Distinctly that. Just gonna cover it up. Pushes it down into the snowbank there. Thing about an artist, you're going to use a lot of paper towels. You need paper towels upon paper towels. You can always be wiping the brush or your hand or something. Now this door needs to come down a little bit further because somebody has to be able to get in there. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Okay, so I'm getting there now. There's some white, some nice shadows in our snow. Next thing I want to do is put like a path in here. And then see some purple. Like a path to get up in there. Just go across. I think in the original painting it had like a road going that way. Bring it that way more. me go grab some paper towels. I'm running out again. That's nice to have purple here because it matches the sky. So it sort of brings the painting together, you know? To having a different color. I want a little bit darker down the bottom. Grab a little bit more crimson and blue. Make that just a little bit darker as it gets closer towards you. That adds depth to it. Making that part of it a little bit more distinct. A little bit wider in there too. So you can have some depth in there now. I'll clean the brush. Cleans the brush. Back into some white. Sometimes these tubes are hard to get the top back on. It's a little bit difficult with that sometimes. A little liquidy white. I want to sort of push this path down into the painting. Yeah. So push it down in there by putting a couple of hills over it. Yeah. So it looks like it's down in there. Let the blend taper back. Yeah, I think in the original picture, get some color there. I think in the original picture, it had a fence on the left. I have a lot of extra room on this side. I might have to throw a tree in there just to kind of balance the picture off a little bit. I think I have a little bit too much open space over here. But first, I want to put a fence on the left side. I used a palette knife in the original picture, but today I'm going to use a liner brush. Each one you want it to be a little bit wider apart as it gets closer. So you have that distance, then just a little bit more there. So yeah, so that gives you perspective. And that distance, then you have that distance, and there. Post right there. There's a couple fence posts, nothing crazy. Make a little smaller as I go back. And a little bit of a little wire or something going across there. So connect them a little bit. Just something in there just to in there. Going to straight of the thin white. Full top on them. Mess that up there a little bit. Let me see if I can fix that. Fix it. Fixed it pretty good. Oh shoot, I messed it up again. That's what happens when you paint. Sometimes we screw things up. I do. Let me fix that here. Fix this little thing here. All right, I know I need a tree on this side now because it's a little bit. Well, let me just stand back from it for a second. See what's up. I would say yes, it does need a tree over there. Let me grab some brown. This is in my original painting. I didn't have anything over there, but this picture, I think I need a little bit of something sort of balance the picture off from that direction. Let's get a little bit more depth and whatever. All right, on the straight brown in my filbert. I might make it big. I might make it like big tree. This is fun to paint too. That's another reason why I wanted to do it. When it comes down there. I'm sort of picking up that white undercolor there to go in and reestablish it darker. Making it thicker. Sort of grew on me a little. For some reason it got thicker on me. Because I didn't like the base that wide. And I want it darker too. A little bit more darker on this side. Pretty big tree, eh? A little bump this way. That way now. Now we're going to have some branches coming off. There. big branch here. It's sort of growing on me, isn't it? That looks pretty good. I'm going to take a liner brush to that dark color. It's brown and black. Brush with the paint real thin. And I'm just going to go in here and put some good branches in there. I'm not going to put too many branches in this one. Something right there. I usually put too many branches in my trees. I'm going to kind of hold back this time. It's kind of tempting to put a million branches in there. So I have that. Now I'm going to take my palette knife. I'm going to use my palette knife. I'm going to put in some highlighties in here. So I'm just going to touch. I sip my coffee. And don't be afraid to put the paint on thick here. It's nice that it makes that bark feeling on there. When it dries, it'll give like a bark feel. Just tap on there like that. Lighter in there. All right, look at that beyond. Places I needed brighter. I want it brighter. I definitely want it brighter right in here a little bit. It's too bright, just keep tapping it and it'll kind of go away there. I don't like this transition here. Let that a little bit better transition in there. Now I'm going to take a little bit of blue for the shadow side. Darker. I'm going to put a little reflected light over here. Excuse my arm here. Not crazy amount, just a little bit. I'm going to lay it in there and then work it out. So I'm putting it in right here. Maybe over here a little bit. Sorry about my arm in the way. Not too much. The color is nice. Now I want to just tap it and work it in to the color that's underneath, into the highlights next to it, so it kind of all comes together. I'm sort of just going back and forth with it. The color is nice. A little bit of a better transition here. A little bit too defined there on that edge. Here. Pretty good. Kind of pleased with it. Go back and forth here and make a little bit more of a softer transition in there. Now you can go back into some dark color and reestablish some darks, like right in here. A little darker into there. Yeah, maybe in the middle. I'm gonna tap it back and forth in the middle here, like that. That's kind of a nice effect. It kind of brings it to life when you add the darks back in here and there. Millions of them just here and there. Then a couple really bright highlights just to kind of bring it to life. Almost straight white. Maybe one spot, wipe it off the knife and then work it in. think that's pretty good there. Now let me go back to my fan brush and kind of work around the bottoms there. What time do we have? 1 hour and 16. Clean up the bottom there. Clean up the bottoms. Take a straight white, just kind of go in there so that get some snow up to the bottom there. That way, put it together. Go up in here in the middle there. I want to add a little bit of snow that's kind of caught in there. Use this little brush here. The snow kind of sitting there. A little. Take it out, put it on a little bit too much. What do you think? You guys like this one? A decent job. I think I'll put a couple of birds in the top left. Where's my other bush? Back in the other bush. All right, let's throw a signature out here. Should be good to go. I'm gonna put it right around here. Try to make it not too big on my signature so it doesn't take away from the painting. A little smaller than I used to. is always the hardest letter. Just put the year. Is that too old to go? Alright, so I hope you guys like this painting, and see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend, everybody.